Welcome to the first meeting of the very first White House Environmental Justice Advisory Council. Some of you have been speaking truth about environmental justice for decades. Others here are speaking out on behalf of a generation that's fighting for your very future on this planet.
In 2018, we began a podcast about environmental justice. The administration in Washington wasn't much interested in the subject, but activists were continuing to mobilize, even as they faced strong headwinds. Today, as you heard from Vice President Harris, change is in the air. A new White House Council has been created. It's an environmental justice dream team. These advocates believe they have a once-in-a-lifetime window to ease the burden of our industrial society on people with lower incomes and communities of color. This season of Living Downstream, we present stories from these communities, told in partnership with them, and we go inside the lives of those who continue to lose loved ones to cancer, COVID, respiratory disease, and negligence. We meet people like Alicia Bure. Her son's asthma was likely caused and certainly worsened by the family's location atop one of the busiest highways in America. She remembers her first conversation with a doctor about her son's breathing.
I remember when I got that news, and I felt like my world shattered. I don't know why, the second that they told me your son has asthma, it was October 23rd. They said, your son has asthma. And I was like, what do you mean? He has asthma. My child, he runs, he jumps, he's happy. I was like, oh my God, is my baby going to die one day if he doesn't have his inhaler?
We'll also talk this season to Catherine Coleman Flowers, a MacArthur Genius Award grantee whose work on rural poverty, water, and sewage has resulted in new attention to some of the nation's most intractable problems. Flowers doesn't hesitate to connect the dots between environmental justice and racial justice.
COVID was one of the magnifying glasses, but the other magnifying glass was what happened on January the 6th, when there were people that violated the Constitution and desecrated the halls of Congress and were able to stay there without even being challenged for a few hours. Whereas I have to be concerned about me and my family being pulled over for no reason at all and potentially losing their lives.
Climate justice, racial justice, environmental justice, they're all on tap this season, with stories from North Carolina, California, Texas, Colorado, and elsewhere. Subscribe now at Apple Podcasts, NPR One, and wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Steve Mencher, host of Living Downstream, the environmental justice podcast. More at norcalpublicmedia.org/living.